Good morning, what's the crack? Welcome back to another YouTube video. So it's bright and early Wednesday morning, 6:45, getting set up for the first session of the day here in the gym. So we have a small group PT coming in now at 7, and then straight after that we have an 8 a.m. group class. So yeah, busy day, lots of coaching on, but wanted to record another YouTube video. So I suppose it's been a few weeks now since I did a YouTube video, and just wanted to, I suppose, give a few updates, give a few insights into my own training in the prep for championship, which is now it's actually exactly a month away, which is quite scary. So it feels like ages since, you know, we've played, I suppose, any competitive games. The league has been finished months now at this stage. We've had a few challenge games, which has been great. And I think we're hoping to get one more challenge game before the actual championship starts, which would be really, really good. Get some more game time, kind of build up the confidence there as well. So yeah, but yeah, getting nervous for it now. The last 4 weeks of training for myself have been pretty good, pretty locked in. I've had a goal of kind of dropping around 2 to 3 kilo before going into championship, just to kind of have me a little bit lighter, a bit fresher on the feet, and just feeling more confident in myself as well. So I'll chat through kind of what my approach has been to that throughout this video. And I will take you through, I suppose today we have a lower body session on the cards. I'll take you through kind of my training routine and my approach to training over the past few weeks. Like we're still on the pitch 2-3 times a week with the team training. So we have Tuesday, Friday, and then Sunday morning training. And yeah, trainings have been really, really good, really intense the last while, and the weather has been good as well. We were training there last night and it was roasting, absolutely roasting. So we've all these different elements to take into account when it comes to that as well. So, but yeah, all in all, it's been a good kind of month of training, really locked in, really enjoyable as well. And I think that's an important part of it as well, is to enjoy it. So take you through as well, I suppose, MBF Performance, what's going on inside that. I have a couple of calls booked in this week with potential clients and then with current clients as well, to kind of check in with them, see how they're feeling heading into their own championship as well, and give them some clarity on what they need to be focusing on, kind of highlight any struggles or issues they're having at the minute, and see, you know, how we can kind of tailor towards them a little bit more and have them in a good position come championship time. So you have a little bit of prep work to do here in the gym before the classes come in, so I'll get stuck into that. But yeah, hope you enjoy the video. I actually really enjoy making these YouTube videos. They take a little bit of time, but I do enjoy it. It's kind of more it's more relaxed, I think, in a sense. So hopefully you do find it helpful, insightful. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, try and grow it a little bit for myself. And the last couple of videos people have found helpful. They've been kind of focused on, I suppose, pitch sessions and what type of, you know, specific work you should be doing on the pitch, or what type of additional work you should be doing in general to benefit your performance come team training or come game day, rather than just kind of guessing it or doing random stuff that you think is going to make you better, when in fact it's probably just maybe accumulating more fatigue. So definitely go and check those videos out then as well. And yeah, any questions, pop them in the comments below. But yeah, hopefully you do enjoy this one. I'll get back to prep in the gym here.
Expand that chest, right? And use that power to push it up over the shoulders. So we're not just kind of sinking into the bench here and trying to depend on our arms to do all the work. Get nice and strong, nice and solid here in the middle. And pushing up over the shoulders or over the chest, okay?
So just back from the gym there, 2 really good sessions this morning. We had small group PT, And then we had 8 a.m. class, and there was like 13 people in for that, which was class. Such a good vibe in there. So just getting some breakfast into me now. Just went in with 2 eggs, 1 egg white scrambled up, and then going to have a bagel as well with that. So this is going to fuel me now for my lower body workout that I'll be doing probably around 11:30. I'll start that. Get over to the gym. I have a PT at 10:30 in my own gym first. So it is just after 9 o'clock. So I don't have a whole pile of time to get this into me. And heading back into my gym, do the PT, and then we're going to head across and get the lower body session done. So I'll show you clips of that and maybe chat through a couple of bits as well. But yeah, really nice morning in the gym there, good vibes. And normally this is kind of what I do for breakfast. Like after the early morning shift in the gym, I'll come back out, get my breakfast, and then I'll have to go back in, do coaching or go off and do my own workout. And then the rest of the day, I'll be back in coaching in the evening, getting some work on the laptop done and stuff like that. So yeah, going to get this into me now. Have a coffee as well. Obviously get the caffeine on board too. And be well fueled for the workout later on. So I'll catch you in a while. Absolutely class day out there today. Just after finishing up morning coaching there in the gym. So had a 10:30 PT. It's always such a nice session on a Wednesday morning, 10:30. It's a mother and baby PT, so we do have great giggles with the young fella that comes in with his mammy. But yeah, just finished morning coaching. Solid morning now of work gone in by everyone, and going to head over to Horsepower Gym now to do my own session. So a bit of lower body. I'll take you through a couple of clips of the warm-up, some specific prep for my hamstring, and then the main workout itself. I might chat through it if it's not too busy. I'll see how it is in there anyways. But yeah, buzzing to get this going. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely roasting over there as well. But that is the crack. Keep watching. So last lower body exercise coming up next, we have calf raises. Pretty good session so far. Would have shown you a couple of clips there of the warm-up. So mobility activation, some specific work for the hamstring there. So went for some 90-90 bridges. That's kind of something I'm focusing on more for the hamstring tendon rather than doing a hip hinge style movement where maybe it could be like an RDL. I find that actually aggravates my hamstring. So I'm doing more kind of bridge and thrust style movements. Single leg long lever bridge has been a really good run for me the last couple of weeks, just to kind of keep the tendon loaded but not putting it through too much range of motion. So I'm making sure to do that before I get stuck into the workouts, and especially before I get stuck into any max speed work on the pitch, acceleration work, or just team training in general. Specific prep work. If you have an injury at the minute, or if you have a niggle, it's important to kind of get that looked over and see if there's kind of specific things that you can do. Problem with tendons is quite common nowadays with players, but it's important. Like, yes, rest maybe at the start is good, but to completely rest and do nothing on it is probably not the best way to go. Much better to load it in a controlled manner and put some tension through it, just to kind of build up that strength there again. So going into the last exercise here, we have calf raises on the machine. So so as I was saying there, I went through the warm-up, tried my pull-ups as well, so I'm actually delighted with where they're at now at the minute. I'm getting 3 reps unassisted. Third one is a bit iffy looking, but still happy enough with it. Like, I'm the last 4 weeks kind of doing between negative and banded chin-ups to kind of progress my strength in that. I'll put up a post actually and kind of show you the difference over the last 4 weeks with what the 3 reps look like compared to what they did then. So a nice improvement on that. So I'm kind of practicing those like as often as I can. Whenever I come into the gym here, I'll go at them. And then we went into the first compound lift, so we had split squats, we had some bridging again, so single leg hip thrust, and then some accessory work, so leg extension, hamstring curls, and now we have calf raises. So that's kind of the lower body loading session done for this week, and I like to try and get that done the day after team training. So tomorrow it kind of leaves me with a recovery day or a rest day before I go back into team training on Friday again. So I'll talk a little bit more about my approach to that later on in the video, but that's kind of the way I'm doing it. Monday is strength and power, team training Tuesday, Wednesday lower body loading, Thursday rest day, Friday team training, and then Saturday is kind of an upper body day. So I'll get stuck into this set of calf raises before I cool down.
Say it louder, say it louder. Feel the moment, feel the power. Bring the animal back to life. Bring the energy one more time. If you feel like letting go, you can.
Right, so we're on the move again. Solid lower body session there in the gym. Felt really good. Really happy with how the hamstring is feeling. That was kind of a worry there over the last 2 weeks or so, but I suppose it's good to get it highlighted, and then it's good to address the problem and see what you can actually do to make these things feel better. And especially as I was saying about the tendon issues, they're quite common among GA players, and a lot of it can be a load issue. So extra load on the pitch, more maybe the likes of jumps and plyometrics can kind of flare the tendons up. So it's just kind of about monitoring your load, and movement efficiency comes into that as well a lot. So if you're not moving very efficiently, you are not, I suppose, loading areas equally, and you're overloading different tissues in the way that you move on the pitch and things like that. So getting all those things looked at, and getting a coach to go through it, and that's, I suppose, a big part of MBF Performance. So we look at the efficiency of how players are moving, through the likes of accelerations, through the likes of max speed and change of direction and things like that, and we kind of do things to try and improve that as well. So that's all part of the one-to-one coaching service. All the details will be in the description below. You can book in a call to kind of chat with me and go through where we can go through where you're at the minute in terms of what's going well for you, what's not going well, what you're struggling with. And then if you're interested in joining one-to-one coaching service, we can put a plan in place for you. But yeah, back to my own lower body session there today. So as I was saying, my approach at the minute is kind of three main gym workouts. So I'm going with kind of a strength and power focus session, full body session on a Monday. Then on a Wednesday, it's lower body loading after pitch training on a Tuesday. And then Saturday morning is kind of a more upper body focus with a small bit of robustness in there for the hamstring. My camera has fallen over there going around the bend, but yeah, I was just saying, with a small bit of robustness in there as well for the hamstring on a Saturday. So I suppose that's been my approach over the last couple of weeks, because we haven't had many games, so I've been kind of fitting in 3 gym sessions. Now come championship time, that will probably switch back to 2 full body sessions. Obviously, because we'll have more games, I'll need more recovery time, and I won't be able to, I suppose, isolate the legs as much with a full kind of lower body session. So that's kind of where that will change, and that's, I suppose, the importance of knowing what you should be focusing on and when to kind of change things up depending on the stage of season that you're in. And that's what I'm kind of doing with players at the minute, getting players on calls this week to kind of chat through, you know, what the story is with their games and things like that, so that we can kind of implement those changes as we go as well. And then anyone who, I suppose, hasn't maybe done much gym work like alongside their team trainings and games before, who's a GA player, that's kind of what I would be saying to them. You know, I'd often get questions like, you know, what type of gym work should I be doing? How many gym sessions should I be doing? And another thing then as well, like where players get their approach wrong towards the gym, is that to do like a push-pull leg split in the gym, or they do just upper lower body splits. There's no power focus, there's no specific robustness focus there either. So that's where players can kind of generate more fatigue, because they're doing the wrong things in the gym. And that's again where you need a coach to come in and kind of give you that structure, give you that information that you need to understand what you need to be focusing on. And that's something that, if you fill out the performance scorecard in the link in my bio, that's something that will kind of highlight that for you and give you some clarity on that as well. But I guess for someone who hasn't done much gym work at all in the gym alongside their team trainings and games, full body workouts are always a pretty good shout. You know, not to be kind of overloading one area of the body more than the other, to kind of balance out the I suppose, you know, muscle soreness or fatigue that you might generate after those sessions. But like, gym work is definitely something that needs to be done alongside your team trainings and games to maintain strength, to stay robust, to stay available, you know, and just to kind of keep you feeling fresh as well for games. You know, when you're stronger, you're going to be able to generate more power. When you're more powerful, you're going to be able to move more efficiently. So it all kind of buys into each other, and it's going to benefit you more than hinder you, especially if you're doing the right things. And it's so important to do the right things, especially when you're in season. You know, especially if you're playing league, if you're playing any tournament or championship, it really needs to be focused so that you're not vulnerable to too much fatigue, doing the wrong things and then ending up with an injury. And then on the other side of it, in the off season, that's a perfect time to kind of, I suppose, trial and error things. You know, maybe add in a higher ox class, or maybe add in a 5 or a 10k run a week. But those things in season are not going to really benefit your performance on the GA pitch. If anything, they're just going to hinder you more and accumulate more fatigue. So that's kind of just some information, some insight into that. But yeah, what I'm doing now is I'm heading home to get some lunch. I'll show you what I'm having for lunch, and I'll chat some more when I'm on the laptop later on. So I'll catch you later. Right, so we're back home now and we're going to get some grub into us. So post-workout grub has been pretty standard over the last few weeks. I've been sticking with oats, so protein oats, and like, you can't go wrong. High protein, tasty. You can add in some protein powder. So I normally go for Optimum Nutrition, and I normally go for double rich chocolate in the oats, or if I run out of that, I go for the vanilla ice cream. Really good protein, really nice tasting, and it blends really well with the likes of oats and Greek yogurt and stuff like that. So we're going to go in with about 60 grams of oats today. So I'm on a lower calorie intake day today, with it being a gym day, and I'll speak a little bit more about that later on as well, which has been working really well for me over the past couple of weeks as well. basically it's been helping me kind of, I suppose, stay within the calorie deficit on days where I don't need as much energy for a higher output. So the likes of gym days, and then the likes of pitch days, pitch training days, they're going to be a higher intake of calories. So it's going to balance out throughout the week. And that's kind of been helping me lose some weight as well over the past couple of weeks. So 60 grams of oats in the serving today. We're going to go in with about 130 grams of Greek yogurt. I always go for the Skier yogurt. I find it a little bit nicer than the other phase yogurt. Small bit more. Lovely. And I normally go for almond milk, unsweetened almond milk. And technically this is how you would make overnight oats, but I make them and I can eat them just straight away. I don't necessarily need them to be in the fridge overnight. And that's kind of a tip for someone as well, especially in this hot weather. If you do like cooked oats, but you're finding it maybe a little bit too hot during this, hot weather that we're getting, then, this meal is just as handy to make. So mixing this up, and then we're going to go in with a scoop of protein powder. So 1 scoop of double rich chocolate protein powder, heaped scoop. And also I buy my protein powder on a website called HP Nutrition. It's normally cheaper than if you'd buy it in a shop somewhere. So that's just a tip as well. So I'm going to mix that in. Sometimes you might need to add a small bit more milk just to kind of help the protein powder blend a small bit more. Some frozen berries, so I'm going to go in with about 50 to 60 grams of this. And I get this granola then in Tesco, just kind of a high protein granola. Now, I don't know how high protein it is, but does the trick. So about 20 grams of this. It literally took me less than 5 minutes to make. Perfect lunch idea. I really like it for lunch. Perfect breakfast idea. Perfect to make at night time, put it in the fridge, or perfect to make in the morning. Bring it with you for lunch then during the day. So we're going to get this lunch into me. Then I have a small bit of laptop work to do, just a few things to touch up on, and then I have an evening class in the gym at 5:15. And I suppose another important thing about when it comes to food, and if you're trying to touch up on your body weight, is the importance of tracking food to give you an idea of the amount of calories that you're actually taking in, and then the quality of those calories as well. Tracking calories isn't something that you want to have to do forever, but it's something that, you should bring yourself back to every now and again to see, have you fallen off track? Have you kind of started picking up these bad habits of, picking at bits and pieces here and there throughout the day? And then, you begin to realize once you start tracking again, the amount of calories that they're actually adding up to. So that's kind of where, if you're someone who is looking to touch up on your body weight and things like that, the importance of, being aware of the amount of food you're eating and then the quality of food as well. And you can only really do that by starting tracking the food again, and kind of bring some awareness to it. And, having some structure around your meals, having, relatively consistent meal timings, having a little bit of pre-planning in place there for your meals as well is going to be really useful. I always say to people, try and focus on 3 main meals at least in the day and have them protein heavy, so that when you eat them, they're going to keep you full for a substantial amount of time, and you're not going to be needing to pick or snack in between those meals as much. Because I think that's the biggest problem with people. We run an 8-week challenge in the gym at the minute, and a lot of people had the goal of, I suppose, dropping a few pounds. And once they started tracking their calories, they became so much more aware of what they were eating and the quality of that food as well. And then by just making a couple of simple changes, focusing on 3 main meals, they found that they weren't snacking as often, because that's what they were doing. They were wanting to lose weight before the challenge, and they thought if they just ate less food, it would be better. But they just ended up eating a load of snacks. The calories were adding up throughout the day, and over time, that's not going to be the best approach to kind of keep you full, keep you satisfied. And the likes of, low calorie snacks, they don't necessarily have an awful amount of nutritional value. And that's kind of what I try to hammer home to people as well. yes, you know, they're great. They're great marketing in the shops and things like that they're low calorie. But I mean, you know, you're going to end up wanting 2 or 3 of them because they're not going to satisfy you, and you're going to kind of maybe get that craving from them, because these low calorie snacks are normally sweet tasting and things like that. So the more of that flavour that you get throughout the day, the more you're going to want it and the more you're going to crave it as well. So yeah, that's just kind of a couple of tips there. Tracking calories can be really useful to come back to give you awareness. And as well, it gives you awareness as to, you know, what's actually in foods, and you realize what is in foods, and it kind of like opens your eyes to things as well, especially when you're shopping. You know, you can kind of say, oh yeah, well, that's actually a decent high protein source, and maybe that's not a decent high protein source, even though it might say high protein in big writing on the front of it. So it kind of brings that awareness, and then over time of tracking calories, you should develop a structure for yourself in terms of, you know what is good and maybe what to have less of, and you know, you can maybe go with a more intuitive approach to your eating then overall. So that's kind of my goal with people when it comes to weight loss is, yes, we need to knuckle down, see what you're actually having, see what the quality of it is. But then over time, once we develop these habits, once we develop habits that we can sustain, it's about maintaining them and having the information then in your back pocket to be able to do that. So I'm going to get this into me now because I'm starving. I'm going to do a bit of work on the laptop, and then I'll be heading back into the gym. Now, so we're back on the laptop here, getting a little bit of work done, checking in with clients. Just flip you around there and I can chat away to you. So yeah, getting a little bit of work done here on the laptop. I have, as I said earlier on, I have a couple of calls booked in for later in the week for MBF Performance potential clients who are looking to join one-to-one coaching with me, who are GA players and who are looking for more structure as well. So I thought this was kind of a good opportunity to chat a little bit more about my own approach to, I suppose, how I approach everything in the lead up to championship, and especially with the goal of trying to drop around 2 to 3 kilo over the last couple of weeks. So I suppose the main thing was to prioritise team training. So that was always the main priority, to try and get myself to team training. So Tuesday and Friday was kind of initially, and then the coaches added in a Sunday as well. I suppose with less games on, you know, we needed to kind of maybe be on the pitch a little bit more and use that maybe as a tactical session as well to go through gameplays and stuff like that. But yeah, that's always been the priority. And then I suppose that's out of my control in terms of, you know, what coaches do in sessions, how much exposure we get to speed and things like that. But everything else then was in my control. So the likes of my nutrition, the likes of my speed exposure, the likes of, you know, any additional sessions that I do, my lifestyle habits and things like that. So first and foremost, when we look at trying to drop a couple of pounds or a little bit of body weight, you know, that's going to come down to your nutrition first and foremost. You know, you want to kind of lock in with that, see where you're at. So as I kind of mentioned earlier, I was talking about calories and things like that. So, you know, getting back to tracking calories, getting a little bit more focused on pre-planning meals, having, you know, set meals in place for yourself at relatively similar times each day is going to be very, very beneficial. And I suppose I wasn't overly bad at doing that. You know, I kind of have a routine for myself, you know, with the gym. I kind of have times where I normally always eat. But I suppose it was just being more aware of what I was having, the amount of it I was having, and starting to measure food again more accurately. So getting myself into kind of that high-low approach with intake was really important as well. So, you know, utilising high intake for high output days, so the likes of team trainings, you know, tracking my calories. And the thing about high output days isn't that, you know, my food completely changes when I have team training. It's just a case of I kind of increase the same foods, increase the amount of them that I'm having, especially carbs. So, you know, for example, yesterday I would have had pretty much similar food as I would on my low intake day, but I just had an extra bagel with peanut butter and honey to kind of fuel my evening team training. So that was kind of the difference there. Then on my lower intake days, I normally have them on my gym days, and then, you know, the weekends we don't have I suppose games at the minute, so I don't need a massive carb load for the likes of team training on Sunday. You know, I'm kind of well fueled if I eat maybe my dinner a little bit later on Saturday evening. I'm pretty well fueled for that then on Sunday morning. But yeah, so that was kind of the main approach. Getting back to tracking food, using my Fitness Pal for that was really useful. getting, I suppose, your macros lined out and know what they should be. And protein and carbohydrates are going to be so important as well for recovery and for fueling too, okay? So nutrition was the big one, and I highly recommend that high-low day intake. Now, coming into championship when games are going to be, we're going to have more games and things are going to be a bit more intense. I probably will need to carb load a little bit more at the weekends, like on the likes of Friday, Saturday. So most of our kind of games in general, like during the league, they were at around 11:30 in the morning time on a Sunday. So, I wouldn't be a fan of kind of eating too much the morning of a game, just nerves and the stomach will be all over the place. So I would generally, carb load a small bit on Friday, but mostly on Saturday I'd have most of my kind of food eaten, and then come Sunday morning I'm able to have something light, like maybe a bowl of cereal or the likes of a bagel with peanut butter and honey. That's kind of my go-to pre-game or pre-training. I just find that I can digest it easily. It gives me that quick release of energy, and that's basically what you need as well. So it's important to kind of have that understanding around what you should eat before and then after your training. So like before training or gym workout or a game, you want something that's easily digestible, that's going to give you that quick release of energy. So something that is high in carbs. And then post, you want to replenish those carbs, replenish that protein, especially into the body, to help you recover, and to, I suppose, see the adaptations happen of what you're actually doing then as well, in the particular session that you're doing. And another thing then that's so underrated is getting extra steps in. So like I do a lot of movement throughout the day with coaching and things like that, but increasing the step count a little bit more than what it is now. So I always say to people, try and increase it for at least 3 days per week by 1,000 to 2,000 steps on top of your current average daily step count. That's going to make a massive difference, and that's something that I tell people to focus on, within the 8-week challenges. I tell them to focus on it within my one-to-one MBF performance coaching. Like, getting your steps in is so beneficial for digestion, for caloric burn, and for helping you to recover as well. You're going to be able to loosen out the body. It's a form of active recovery after a workout or after a game, and it's so underrated. So that's kind of something I've been trying to increase my average step count on a weekly basis, to try and, just get me moving a little bit more, help my digestion of food as well. And that's something that you should definitely focus on. And then from a training standpoint, I've been pretty locked in, as I was saying earlier, over the past 4 weeks, on, all my sessions, making sure that my sessions are benefiting my performance rather than hindering them. And I know obviously what I should be doing for that, but there's a lot of players who still aren't sure about it. And I've actually created a performance scorecard over the last couple of weeks that I've been sending out to people. They've been kind of commenting on my posts and things like that. So basically it's a free performance scorecard to kind of highlight areas that you're struggling with at the minute, and give you some clarity as to what you should actually be focusing on, rather than just doing random things and rather than, trying to guess all the time. So it's giving people clarity. People fill out the performance scorecard and then I review it and send them across feedback via email. And it just kind of gives them some information as to, what they should be focusing on, rather than feeling like they're doing loads but getting nowhere. And that's been a really common theme. A lot of people want to improve their speed, their fitness, in general, from the submissions on the scorecards. And all of these people are doing a lot of things, and that's what you'll find with the likes of GA players. They're motivated people who are always doing something, and they want to stay on top of their fitness, they want to stay on top of their speed, their endurance and their stamina and things like that. But they end up doing too much of the wrong thing and not enough of the right thing to benefit them at the particular stage of season that they're in, and to benefit them specifically for the demands of GA. And that's kind of the important thing when it comes to like strength conditioning for a sport, and in particular GA players is kind of what I'm working with at the minute inside my online coaching, inside MBF Performance. So it's kind of getting specific as to what you actually need to be focusing on, and that's going to change depending on the season, or depending on the time of season that you're in. For most players now, championship is going to be kicking off in around 4 to 5 weeks time. So the main focus for them is how they can be available. You're not going to make massive strength gains or massive fitness gains over the next 4 weeks, but with some structure in place and some understanding as to what you should be actually focusing on, that's going to make a massive difference for you as well. So that's where I come in, and that's what I do through MBF Performance. So I'll leave the link for the scorecard to be filled in for yourselves if you're interested. It's completely free, and it's completely confidential as well. The information just comes to me, and then I pop you back over feedback. So I'll pop that in the description of this video. Feel free to fill it out. It'll highlight what you're actually struggling with, because a lot of players as well think they're struggling with every area, you know, and it mightn't be that way. And with those players, they tend to try and focus on everything all at once. And again, they feel like they're getting nowhere. So, you know, it's kind of about highlighting the demands of the game, what you're struggling with. And it's a good time now to kind of, you know, if you've had any challenge games, or you know, if you've had maybe some players have a different kind of tournament maybe between championship and league, but if you've had any games, try and I suppose analyze your performance in those, and what actually were you struggling with, where did you feel like you were falling down. That's probably a good area to start focusing on before championship, because, you know, a lot of players, GA players, are fit. A lot of the time speed is the thing that's lacking because they don't get enough exposure to it. And then for female GA players, I'm noticing specifically as well, you know, having some form of strength conditioning work in there, in terms of, you know, some gym work to help them stay injury free, to help them maintain strength, which should be the goal, I suppose, at this stage of the season, is to maintain strength and to stay robust and to stay powerful. That should be kind of the aim of your gym sessions. But, you know, a lot of female GA players, especially club players, you know, maybe don't have the resources or the information behind them as to what they should be doing. So, you know, that's something that getting more information on that could be really useful for you to kind of just prevent injury and to keep yourself available for games come championship. Because the last thing you want is to, you know, go out in the first championship game and pull a hamstring, or, you know, just pull up short and feel like you're lacking in that strength and conditioning area as well. So if you're interested in filling out the performance scorecard, feel free, it'll be in the description below. You know, and then off the back of that, we could always jump on a call to kind of chat some more about what I do with players inside MBF Performance. So basically, like, you know, it's going to be a one-to-one coaching program with myself. I lay out everything to kind of suit your team trainings. I'll have a program to suit and to benefit your performance around your team trainings and to benefit your performance in games then as well. We have a weekly check-in, and there's loads of different areas to the one-to-one coaching inside MBF Performance. So fill out the scorecard. That will be kind of the advice I'd give you. And then, you know, off the back of that, we can kind of get chatting some more. We can jump on a call and just have a chat. You know, it's completely free, the scorecard and the initial consultation call. And that, I think that would be a good approach for a lot of people if they chose to do that. So, but yeah, that's kind of been my approach over the past couple of weeks, just kind of locking in and remembering what the goal is. And the goal is to perform come championship, come first round of championship. That is what the goal is. So, you know, I need to be locked in as to what I need to focus on. And, you know, again, there's a lot of players who aren't sure what they should be focusing on. So that's where I would come in and kind of help people out with that, get them into the one-to-one coaching service, and work closely alongside them with that then as well. So if you're interested in that as well, the details will be in the description. We can get chatting about it, get you on a call and see where you're at, and put a plan in place for you. Look at that for an evening. Absolutely unreal. Just out for a couple of steps now to finish off the day. So got through the evening class in the gym. It was absolutely roasting in there. Fair play to the gang for getting through it. So I suppose just recapping on everything from today, I was trying to explain when I was driving there, I do have a magnetic kind of a holder. Well, it's kind of a makeshift thing in the van for holding the camera, but I need to stick it down a little bit better. So it kept falling over when I was going around bends. But, oh, look at this. That is just unreal. Can't beat summer in Ireland. Well, maybe not summer, but when the weather gets good, you just can't beat it. It's savage. But getting back to what I was saying there, lower body strength workout there today. So I was kind of alluding to the fact that my, I suppose, approach to training will slightly change in terms of gym work when it comes to the business end of the season when we get into championship. So like the main priority will be games, recovering from games. Anything additional in the gym will be, minimal effective dosage, and more than likely dropping down to 2 full body sessions, and maybe some upper body in there as well on a separate day, depending on game schedules and stuff like that. Talk through a little bit my own approach over the past couple of weeks in terms of trying to drop a couple of kilo in the lead up to championship. So I suppose main thing is going to be nutrition, trying to lock in with that, find a good routine for yourself, be accurate by tracking your calories, and being specific, holding yourself accountable to that. So, getting out MyFitnessPal, tracking your food is going to be really beneficial. And one thing I didn't mention on that side of things as well is how you're going to actually monitor that in terms of making progress. So what I'm doing is I'm weighing in each morning, and then taking an average weight from those weigh-ins throughout the week. So adding them up, dividing them by 7, and then using that as my average weight for that week, doing that week on week, and then seeing what the average is for the actual month as well. So, if you're someone who weighs in Monday to Monday, you're not going to see major differences, or more than likely if you weigh in after the weekend, a lot of people might have a couple of extra carbs that are going to cause water fluctuations in the body, and therefore that's going to be seen as a spike on the scales. So it's important to take that into account. So by you weighing in on Monday to Monday, you're not maybe getting a true reflection of what your average weight was for that week. So weighing in more regularly is going to give you more accuracy there on that. Taking progress photos, seeing how your physique is actually looking, and how it's changing, seeing some more muscle definition coming through, seeing how you're progressing in the gym in terms of strength, and making sure as well that everything you do needs to be done with intent. That's so important. Like in the gym, that's something I really focused on over the past month, was training with intent in the gym, like really focusing on good technique, and making sure that I was getting the most out of the exercises that I was doing. Not so much going to failure or anything like that with reps, but more so focusing on the technique, making sure that I was feeling engaged where I was supposed to be feeling engaged, and definitely things like, focusing on hamstring tendon and stuff like that is going to be beneficial to kind of feel that hamstring engaging, and my glute as well was something that was kind of underactive on that left side, so I really focused on trying to feel that engaging, and certain exercises isolating that, and that was really important. Then part of the prep work before I go onto the pitch to really focus on that. So that's an important side of it too, guys, to train with intent, and everything that is, I suppose, in your control, do it with intent, and be meaningful with it. And the way I approach my own training is the exact way in how I approach the players that I coach inside MBF Performance, inside the one-to-one coaching, giving them the structure and accountability that they need, because I think that's the main thing that's lacking for especially club players. County players, they're going to have that extra layer of resources there, information and guidance. They're going to have physios, they're going to have S&Cs, they're going to have nutritionists and things like that in their back pocket. So, life is going to be a little bit easier for them in terms of knowing what to do. They're going to be held accountable to those resources that they have in terms of, giving them guidelines that they have to follow, and then it's up to them to follow them. And that's the thing that most club players need as well. So that's kind of what my main aim this year was to do, was help GA club players especially have resources and have the knowledge there in their back pocket. So yes, we have workout programs and stuff within the one-to-one coaching, but the big thing is understanding the why behind what I'm getting you to do, and the accountability aspect of it as well. So for me, that's what I love asking questions. I love finding out information. I love understanding why I'm supposed to do something, and that's kind of what I want to give to whoever I coach as well. So I'm a big believer in, when you understand why, you're going to do it with more intent, and you're going to want to do it more. And ultimately, when you want to do it more, you're going to do it. And when you reap the rewards of that then as well, you're going to enjoy the sport much more, because there's nothing worse than being a GA player and absolutely dreading every game, because you're not in the best shape. you know that maybe you could possibly pick up an injury because you haven't been doing anything. So why not give yourself the best opportunity to put yourself in a position where you feel confident in your ability to perform, in your ability to be available, to stay injury free. You're going to enjoy it so much more if you do that. So that's kind of my main goal this year, is to kind of help players, especially club players who don't have the resources, to give them that and give them the opportunity to, you know, perform well, because like club football is just as competitive as county football at the best of times. And especially with the different tiers as well. Like my club is junior, and the junior competition and championship in our county is very, very competitive. So like, just because you play junior or anything like that, I wouldn't be shoving it under the carpet saying, oh well, I'm only playing junior, I don't really need to bother touching up on my performance, or it doesn't really matter that much. But I can guarantee, like, you'll feel so much better for putting that effort into yourself. Your team is going to benefit from it, you're going to benefit from it, and you're just going to feel better about that then as well. So why not give yourself the opportunity to do that? Check out the links in the description of this video. Make sure to fill out the performance scorecard, highlight some areas, get some clarity from the feedback that I give you, and then, you know, we can chat some more, get on a call and see what I can help you with. The old laneway is busy here with tractors and trailers bringing fresh loads of turf home. But yeah, so the plan for the rest of the week then, tomorrow is going to be kind of a lower output day, definitely. Nothing too hectic, nothing too much hectic on the cards really tomorrow. Get some walks in, lots of work to do on the laptop, coaching it early in the morning, and some calls in the evening time then as well. So that's the plan for tomorrow, which is Thursday. Friday then we're back on the pitch for team training. So plan is to get down to the pitch earlier, go through some max speed work. So go through some, I suppose, technical postures and positions, and then get into some max effort sprints, focusing more on kind of upright running. That's something that I am working more on now at the minute. Then Saturday is going to be upper body, and then Sunday we will have morning training then on Sunday morning. So that is the plan for the rest of the week. But yeah, I just shot up on my Instagram stories about me doing up this video that I haven't done, I suppose, a YouTube video in a couple of weeks, and my plan is to try and get a few more of them out over the next couple of weeks. So if you've any suggestions or topics that you'd like me to cover more specifically, you know, pop them in the comments below, pop me a message on Instagram at Megan Banahan Fitness. I'd be happy to go through it, and that's what I want really, is to get, you know, more interaction from GA players. I suppose to see that maybe what I'm saying is helping. It's always nice to get interaction, so do drop a comment below if you have any questions or things you'd like me to cover, and I'll happily go through them. But for now, I think I'll leave the video there, guys. Thanks a million for watching if you got this far. Hopefully I didn't waffle too much and you got something from it, and yeah, look, I'll see you in the next one.